All right, the finale of Alien Earth finally made it.
I know,
But
man. This shit's been this shit's definitely been kind of long for for 80 episodes in, right?
oh yeah, it's so long, longer than it needed to be. The beginning it was pretty strong, but towards the end it fell off for me. I see that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like sitting in it's like watching a movie from beginning to end, and then most people are just getting up in the middle of the movie and shit, and just walking over to the concession stand demanding for their money back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a huge letdown, but it's more like it was kind of like no one really thought it was gonna end like that. Like, it was
Yeah,
almost like a fart. Like, that's what it felt like.
yeah, very anticlimactic, I would say. It's- Especially with the boy genius, his character arc, it didn't really go anywhere outside of the surface level of that stereotype of that kind of mad scientist character.
Yeah.
He's he was just pretty much trying to escape, and
He definitely didn't live up to like, I guess you would say, our expectations when it came to like his geniusness, because it's more like, yeah, he was smart. Yeah, he did some, he created, um I guess you would say the synthetics. The biggest thing that man has probably brought to the show was probably, again, like bringing life to synthetics. That was probably like the biggest
yeah,
change throughout this entire series. Outside of that, I don't think, like, he didn't really display on how brilliant his mind was, really. I mean,
yeah, I was
I
about to
just
say,
I didn't see it. Like, I didn't see what was so great about him. You know what I mean?
yeah, I was waiting for that moment of like seeing like how genius is more like the boy idiot. It's like if you were that smart, you wouldn't put yourself in that kind of situation where you're surrounded by different species of creatures that could kill you at any moment. A real
Right.
genius, like on a island somewhere, and he would be giving orders for people to
Or
take charge of it.
or like how he got captured. And again, we're gonna go over every single, like, we're gonna go over as much details as possible, obviously, for not only this episode, the season finale episode, and then the basically the rest of the whole series in general.
Right.
um but it's like, if you were so much of a genius, it was like he didn't he would have had a backup plan instead of getting captured, um by the actual synthetics. Like, it's more like you
Right.
could have kind of predicted, at least, like, if something were to happen. He sort of did that, because with the trackers, I think, I don't know if he had it upload to like some sort of system. I couldn't tell you. I
Yeah, and the computer
wasn't
system, and
right.
then
Like, I don't know if there was an actual manual way to like control the synthetics. I don't think so. That's kind of why he gave them free will, in a way, and self-awareness of, like, them becoming more evolved and shit. I don't think he had like a kill switch or anything that he could have added on to them. Like, the one synthetic, yeah, the bald, like, the I guess, like, the bald guy, the old bald guy and shit.
Adam, I think, believe his name
Yeah,
is.
like, he was uploaded to the system, but I felt like, I think Boy Genius could have had that in his back pocket for all of them if things were to go sideways, or just like something really displaying on how genius he was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, showing that, when they really thought that they had the, like, it's some crazy, like, trick, that, like, some crazy trick that he could have pulled out the hat. You know what I mean? That pretty much, like, if he saw them doing a lot of like the cameras kind of fucking up, or um I think the trackers being taken out, like, something kind of showing us that when they thought that they were winning, like when Wendy really thought that she was in control the entire time, and then he actually was laughing or something like that, like a maniacal laugh or some shit, something really crazy, that he turns around and says, well, you really thought that you had the upper hand in this situation, but I had this in my back pocket the whole time. Like, something like that, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was waiting for in his character. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, especially for this final episode, they could have played it like they playing like some kind of game of chess, like them trying to outsmart each other, and like with Mandy and Boy Boy Genius, so
yeah.
they could have went that route of like should really displaying his genius at least in the last episode, or like how he controlled like parts of the world. I thought like this whole entire season was going to display how aliens interact with the world Earth and like how maybe how he controls the economy of like how things went as he's introducing like these new species to the people of Earth or whatnot. But
Yeah.
it don't really go and dive into any aspects of
I
that.
I think people were more kind of blown away with Wendy when she was seeing. I mean, I know. I think we talked about it off air. You was like, "Wait, how come all the way up to this point we couldn't? She couldn't really do half of the things that she could have done in this exact episode." But the reason why I challenged that is only because, like, I think in the process she was just really figuring out how to speak to the alien. She was trying to figure out, basically the humanity side of her, or she doesn't really know a lot. Not only that she's a child, but it's just like she's really trying to figure out everything as she's evolving throughout the series. I think that's the most interesting part about the series is that she's gradually learning that she's, I think, becoming more than outside of being a human or a monster or something like that. That's why she did, like, towards the very end she kind of specified that she's neither. She's more like she's not even aware of what she is. So I think that's like there's no label for her, obviously, is where her mind is kind of going. But that's how that's actually how so far of advance that she's going. I think, but that's what I mean. Like, that's probably why the biggest thing that Boy Genius has actually done is build something like this that can go beyond life at this point. So, um, and he
Yeah,
kind of seen that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think people were seeing, like, they were more kind of shocked with what she can do in this episode, like controlling the doors, controlling the cameras, really taking the initiative to be the leader that she was meant to be. And then, then pretty much house breaking the freaking aliens. I mean, you might as well just put a dog leash on them and shit at this point. I don't know.
yeah, I seen a lot of people had a problem with that. There's like, how is she able to control aliens? Like when they first revealed that, it's like the aliens are supposed to be like animalistic and like really not obeying anybody, especially anyone of human nature.
Yeah.
So it kind of, especially from the Alien franchise, it's like really not going based off of the origins of how the aliens would interact with humans.
I mean, I could see why. I feel like I could see why people might have an issue with that, though. I feel like people might have an issue with that because they're used to the aliens kind of going ballistic and, you know what I mean, acting and pretty much taking out everything that's in its, in its path and shit. But I think it's interesting that we finally are able to show some type of control over the aliens. You know what I mean? And just simply without having any type of, science behind of controlling them, right? Like, it's literally as simple as communicating with it, right? Like, I think that's the most mind-blowing experience from this.
Yeah, I think they kind of dived into it with the Alien 3 movie, like with Sigourney Weaver's character, her becoming like the mother of a hybrid alien.
That's because that's like a natural thing for a baby, like just coming, like being born. Like, I couldn't tell you like specifics on like what type of animal and shit like that. But I think like the first thing that an animal sees, if I guess, like, I don't know if it came from her. I don't really remember that one too much, to be honest with you. I just know that, it was born and it really started to understand, like, she was like the first thing it saw. So it really
Right.
connected with her instantly. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's as a baby would do that. But in this case, it's more like it's sort of the same thing. As I see where you're kind of comparing it to, but at the same time, like, Sigourney Weaver didn't communicate with that thing though. That was the difference. This understood Wendy, like understood her. So that's why it was acting as in, like, okay, I'm gonna follow your orders. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I think that's pretty interesting, man.
Yeah, it is a different concept to it, and I wouldn't mind that as much if they maybe I have the problem with her like with all these telepathical powers all of a sudden, and like her able to speak the language. If they kind of explained it more, but it didn't. It just seemed like all of a sudden she was throughout each episode she gained these powers, just for plot convenience, just to drive the plot more. It's
Right.
just like in the last episode with Hermit, her brother. conveniently just, with Nibs. Nibs got shot, and then he was like, "No, stop!" He shot her, and that's what made them go back and get captured again. It's like more for plot convenience for him to have that interaction with Boy Cavanagh again, and
Yeah.
just to draw out this whole last episode instead of like really having a real natural way of driving the story home, and them trying to escape, which Wendy was trying to do, but her brother her brother fucked it all up. But
He fucked it all up because he saw that they were really like, dude, they were getting out of hand though. That I mean, they took it to the point that it was just like, okay, they're having too much power over, what they are. You know what I mean? And it's more like they didn't really need to go down that kind of path pretty much. You know what I mean? Like they could have different they obviously we wanted to see that from a consumer's obviously from a series and shit like that, but outside of that when you're digging deeper into that shit, it's more like um they definitely could have figured out that when they were like trying to get on the boat and get the hell out of the like get off the island and shit like that, like they didn't need to like go that crazy. They could have knocked some people out, that which was fine, but it
right,
was more like they were pulling off jaws and doing crazy shit, and the brother
yeah,
was just like, "All right, this is getting too out of hand at this point." So he did what he needed to do. So it was. I think Wendy felt betrayed because at that particular moment, like she felt like, she again, this is a child. She's not really understanding what betrayal feels like. If you're not on her side, it's more like she felt like that was a form of betrayal, but in the if you were more mature mindset, it was more like the right he was doing what he thought was right, and which was actually the right thing to do, kind of pulling the plug on some things and say, listen, this is getting too much too much, and you guys are not understanding like the laws and what's right from wrong still kind of applies to
right,
you. It doesn't matter because you're because you're a fucking part machine, mostly
yeah,
machine. It's just your memories that are plugged into your brain. I mean, to
yeah.
your chip, because they don't have a live brain in there, I mean, as far as we know. But
The only
nah,
problem
yeah,
with like Kermit can have like that humanity in him, but at the same time, he's going back to somebody he doesn't. The boy Cavanagh and the rest of his corporation, they're like inhumane by
yeah.
having people killed, and Morrow
I,
going
I,
on
wa- I
free
was
and
just trying to figure out what was the goal of like all of this shit. Like we understand what was Boys Cavaliers, like his plan was to just kind of, you know, obviously find the best candidate. And I mean, he fell in love with the eyes, and he knew the eye was just like a really intelligent like life form and shit like that. Um
right,
and he wanted that person to he wanted the eye to have a perfect host, I guess a human host, which was interesting to begin with, because it's like, why feed that was Boy Genius's kind of like plot too, is to use the brother. But it was more like, wouldn't it make I guess like it couldn't use it on a synthetic because it's not, there's no brain in there, there's no actual lung, there's no actual,
brilliant.
it's not a person, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say. It's like it's more like, it's more machine. He needs like an actual
Like
body, like an
man,
actual human body, yeah, or some type of living kind of thing, you know what I mean?
blood vessel, something with like
Yeah, yeah,
human.
yeah. So it's more like he couldn't do that with the synthetics, but it would have been interesting because honestly, like he wanted something that can obviously evolve to like a godlike kind of level, I guess you would say, or some type of smart organism. I don't know, like something really intelligent to the point that he can have an actual conversation with. But in the end, it was more like he just had anger issues. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't as bright as he thought he was at the end of the day. It was just
He
more
ended up
like he's like, yeah, he's like lashing out because he had trauma from when he was a kid with his father and shit like that. And those things kind of trickle down into like his goal, who he was, his ambitions. His ambitions were just like kind of not really what he thought it was. You know what I mean? Like you're just sitting there to try to, you're building an empire. You're doing all this extra shit just to kind of sit in a therapy session with somebody that can actually be at your eye level. Like that shit, that like to me, it was just kind of crazy concept, bro. It really was. Like,
Yeah, he just killed his father just to replace him with Adam, another,
Yeah.
and I mean, with Adam, that kind of big reveal showing that he's a sentient too. It's like it didn't really add anything more to it. Just showed he had more sentient beings around him and that he wanted to control. But I just wish they explained more of like why did he want all these species? Like why did he want to transport these children into the symbiotes and like why was this all under his plan of doing? Like the why of
I,
it all.
I,
Like, why
yeah, honestly, it wasn't even about money because he was already a trillionaire or something like that.
Right.
He was already rich and powerful and shit like that. So it had nothing to do with money. But honestly, I actually liked it. One of the plans that that was I think the female scientist, I don't know her name, like the main one that worked on the kids and shit.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like she kind of made it like a good point when she said in like early on in the series that she's saying that, bro, you don't understand that what we could do right now is actually curing. You found a cure, like humans can actually live forever. So I kind of liked that idea better, honestly. He could have did something good with the power that he had, but I guess he chose obviously the wrong path. With the life, with more of the species, it was more like an interesting hobby, I guess you would say. Like he really just wanted to just play around with so much shit that was really like there's just some things you cannot control, and there's just some things that aren't meant for us to kind of try to tamper with, and that's like dealing with species like that is more like yeah, you can't. I don't understand what the goal there was, but it was more like there was not going to be an extension up on the species, that part. You know what I mean? I just don't understand what was the goal there. I think it was mostly just to piss off the other organization, to be honest with you. In all
Yeah.
honesty, I feel like that's what it was, man. I don't even think it was like he was studying them, but it was more like he wanted to. It was like a zoo for him. You know what I mean? And I think he was just trying to pick out the best animal, I guess, to be worthy enough of what he really was looking for, and he found it with the eye and shit. Outside of that, I didn't think he'd give a shit about anything else.
Yeah, I get it. Like the whole idea of like the Peter Pan theme being underlined throughout this whole entire series too. Like
That
they always
motherfucker was not. Yeah,
they,
that was the funny part too. Like that motherfucker was not Peter Pan. He was like more of Hook.
right.
You
It's like
know what I
Doc
mean?
being free. Like that's like constant theme with the boy Kevin there. He wanted to be free and have everything free will with the symbiotes and have them all have free will
Yeah,
and
and
all
it
that. But it
yeah.
had that
If you watch the book, or if you watch the movie and shit, if you not realize if you become the guy, if you were the Hook, eventually the alligator kind of bites the hook. So that's exactly what Wendy was. Wendy was that alligator.
Yeah, and like with Wendy, it's like I compare this entire show now. It kind of reminded me of the Godzilla King of All Monsters when they remade that with Bobby Brown. I mean, Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
The problem I had with that movie too is the same problem I had with this entire series. It's like it's like this the title of this last episode, we are the monsters. It's like the idea of like the humans are the real monsters versus like the aliens are like they can be more nature and more cared for, and if you just get an understanding and able to translate what they're saying. But it's
Mm,
like that goes out the window when you keep showing in each episode that the aliens are brutally murdering the soldiers, and it's like,
right.
bro, it doesn't make that concept doesn't make any sense unless you're showing that the creature itself has like tameness without being in his nature to kill. That's like
Right.
the whole point of the alien. That's why people
Yeah.
had a problem with the alien because in his nature, it's willing to kill and breed and
Yep.
and insert the eggs inside whatever object it needs to continue its race. It's a it's just naturally in it. So it doesn't make sense that they try to go that route with the
Yeah.
story of
I
Mandy.
I was completely lost. I had no idea. Um and I mean, let's definitely talk about the big kind of thing that let's definitely take out some of the big thing that I think biggest speculations around this show already. I think most people are already talking about it. It from what they're saying, the speculations obviously is there's no release, there's no official kind of thing, statement or anything on websites. It's it's projected to actually might actually have a season two, and it's more like why even continue it at this point? I don't understand. I think most people are probably gonna be like, do we really want to? I mean, the way that it left it, it was more like I said, like a fart in the air. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of like that, but it was more like, because I think like the first thing I said when I watched the season, like when I finished the episode, I was just like, so then what does this look like for Alien, the Alien franchise? Like, where are we gonna go from here? Like, it confuses me. So you're basically saying that, now synthetics, the synthetics are even more self-aware. It's more like getting up to date with like AI and shit in the real world. Like, you know what I mean? How artificial like intelligence it's becoming more evolved, within time and shit. And that's kind of what's happening in this series. Like, you know what I mean? And cool. I'm on the synthetic side, but I don't think a lot of people were like going into this was like thinking like, who gave a shit about the synthetics though?
That's it, right.
You know what I mean? Like most people were just like wrapped around. It's always gonna be about the alien, man, and it's just like this doesn't. The aliens weren't in there, the guys with the Party City mask on and the Party City suits on and shit. But
That suit.
yeah, but it's more like people were going into this thinking that are we going to see another species? Are we going to see some things that are just going to be mind blowing? Because every Alien series, I mean, every Aliens movie so far, from what we've seen so far, like Alien Romulus, what was that other spinoff kind of thing?
Oh yeah,
Prometheus,
Prometheus.
yeah, Prometheus, like all those things kind of showcased it like a different life form, different species, different planets. Like they were showing something different and bringing something new to the table at that, like each film. You know what I mean? Like even the ones that weren't the greatest, like Alien movies, like 3 and 4 and shit like that, they still brought something new almost to the table. And it
Yeah.
was always involving, it wasn't involving just the synthetics, it was only just involving like the alien themselves. I think most people watch these movies, it's because of the title of what it is. It's like focusing up on the alien. We didn't really get that too much in this series though. Like we saw like the aliens in there, we saw that they were using different methods on how to in like breed the aliens with the lung and shit like that. And um
How they try to help each other escape outside.
yeah, like like we saw them in there, but it was really just centered around the synthetics, and it's like cool. That was a cool thing. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It was an interesting thing, but they didn't really do too much with the alien side, man.
Yeah. It
You
didn't
know?
explain what planet they came from or the origins of them or why they
N-
captured them specifically out of any other
Right.
species. And you can tell they're trying to hint at another season because towards like the end they showed the eyeball going inside the dead scientist's body, the guy that died that they originally tried to transport the alien egg inside of.
Yeah.
And yeah, they it showed the eyeball going inside him, so it's like I get it, but it's something like this. I'd rather the boy Cavalier and the rest of his scientists just die, get killed by the alien, rather than them just sitting in a circle inside the chamber and like, oh, we outsmarted you guys. Now what's next? You know,
Right. Right.
that's what the ending just felt like. It just ends
I
that climactic.
I just don't. I just don't think that we should get another season of this series. I just don't. I don't think that it's unnecessary. I don't think that we need any kind of continuation from it. I think one and done kind of situation is actually right for this series, because now it's like, okay, cool. Like, I mean, most people are gonna go. I feel like most people are gonna try to challenge it and say like, no, we should definitely get more of it just to explain more. It didn't end on such a good note, right? But in this case, it was more like the way it ended anyways is more like nobody really cares. So it's
Yeah.
just like
Plus,
they can actually just skip over this and go straight to the next movie.
right, it's probably gonna be a Remnants 2 or something. And
Something.
they didn't even explain why how Nibs recovered. Like she's somehow magically recovered. I forgot to mention that. Like I was like, wait, but then Nev just get shot in the last episode. How the fuck? Is
Oh,
she?
she
She looked
did.
like
She
she's like
did.
a guard.
Well, no. She got stabbed. It was like an electric like stun, but it wasn't like it wasn't like she was like gonna be like really damaged from the shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought she got like a headshot and like shot in the chest.
Nah. It was more like a static shock. Like she was more like tased.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She was tased by the brother and shit. And then she had like a kind of like a stroke in a way almost. Like I don't know. She was just like shaking around and shit like that. And
Yeah, because she was like bleeding out and everything. Because they made it
yeah.
seem like she died right there, but
Nah. Yeah, nah. She just was having issues and shit. But yeah, no. Then I guess she was fine right afterwards. But the only one that really died was the kid that got the with the flies and shit like that. That kind of like
yeah,
did that
Tootsie.
acid spit on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
yeah. I like
overall, I think my opinion on the series was more like it was cool at first. It just really didn't end it as good as I thought it was. That's my biggest like that's my final like kind of input on this series. Could have definitely did better, but you
Or
know,
this, yeah. For me, it's. I wish they rounded out the characters more. We got to know the characters more. It seemed like towards the end there was rushed, and we didn't get more time to actually know the plot behind each character. It it didn't conclude on a good note for us. Like we conclude everybody's story, and
right.
yeah, probably like a 6 out of 10, if not five. I was like, damn, it had potential in the beginning, but then it just dwindled off towards the end. Like
Right.
you,
But definitely let us know your guys' thoughts on what you guys think of this series so far. I mean, since it just finished it, if you guys already finished it, I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts on the comments. Leave a comment below the video. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, for more content that we're going to cover on more series out there. But definitely appreciate your time.